That's a very good question. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. So he, according to some beliefs, Santa did not have snakes, as I mentioned. He had reindeers. And even these reindeers, according to the Christian belief, they say that it was a blurry night, and there was since these reindeers are the ones who are leading the sled of Santa Claus, he could not see in the fog, so he needed a red-nosed reindeer, so that's why he got Rudolph, and he put him all the way in the front, and that Rudolph led him to all the houses, and he fit through that chimney in a miraculous way, and then after that he dropped the gifts, and then he came back. So that's where Rudolph came from. See about Rudolph, yes. Yes, we should. Yes.
Kids that go to public school, and before winter, like Christmas break, they have all those like Christmas parties. So what should the kids do?
That's a very good question. I mean, that's a really good question. The question this young girl is asking is that, what about kids who are going to public school? And I know for a fact that in public schools, during the Christmas time, they are doing so many kind of activities. You know, a parent came to me one time and they said that, what should I do? And I told that parent that, you know, if you could send a letter to the school and just say that whenever you have, because they study throughout the day. They do have math classes, English, social studies, science classes, they have PE, they have other classes. But sometimes they have this extra time in the middle of the day and they are participating in Christmas activities. So what should we do at that time? So I usually tell the parents, just write a letter. You can come to me and get the letter also, that in this time I'm requesting the school and the teacher that during this time when they are engaged in these Christmas decorations and so forth, please do excuse the child, let him or her go to the library, or let them do their own work instead of getting them engaged in these kind of Christmas activities. So this is what I usually tell the parents, and you know the children should stay away from it. Try to stay away from it as much as you can. What a question? Yes, brother.
Imam, Nadim, and Ustadh Baajour, the concept of New Year and Christmas, they go hand in hand. Every time we celebrate the so-called Christmas, then a week later is New Year. So the happy holidays, that's where that comes from, I believe. So
yes.
How do we handle that?
So the brother is asking that there is Christmas and there's New Year's Day. And one thing I do want to mention that I just skipped out is that when the people who used to, when they would witness the sun coming out, they would have a day, they would have festivities for, I would believe, 12 days. 12 days. That started on the 25th of December and would go all the way to the 6th or 7th of January. So this is, I mean, even according to some rituals and some beliefs, these days are considered as a day of festivities. One thing I did forget to mention also is that even according to the Roman Orthodox Church, they don't even celebrate, as far as I know, and I did read this somewhere, that they don't celebrate Christmas on the 25th of December. They celebrate Christmas on some other day.
Russian.
The Russian, I'm sorry, what did I say? Roman. Russian. The Russian Orthodox Christians, they don't celebrate on the 25th of December. So here in America, people have just bought into this idea without giving any kind of thought, and they're just going along with it because there's an entertainment attached with it. When you look at Valentine's Day, I've talked about it, that behind the history of Valentine's Day, there is blood upon woman. But once again, it's all about cupids, it's all about hearts, it's all about exchanging gifts, give me my Valentine, things of that type. When you look at Halloween, it's if you look at the background, it's all connected with jinns, spirits, witches, and so forth, but today it's all about candy. When you look at Christmas, the same exact thing. So people have really not given a lot of thought into what is the background of these holidays, but because there's entertainment associated with it. So, yes, young girl.
What about elves?
I can't answer that question. What about elves? When Santa needed help, Then he brought into the picture elves. I have no idea what else, how to answer that question. That's a very good question. It's fairy tales. It's not mentioned in the Quran, rest assured. It's not mentioned in the Sunnah either, rest assured. It's just, these are all fairy tales. Once again, the concept of Christmas, even the idea of Santa Claus, none of them are mentioned in the Bible. These are all just ideas and fairy tales that have come, and they have brought them into the picture in front of everyone else. Yes, brother.
At workplace, can you bring fruits or what, something like that?
Yes. Yes.
Can we eat or can we drink sometimes that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, during that time, I mean, one thing that you have to be very careful about, especially when it comes to food, is that a lot of Christians, they use, especially in the Christmas times, because I do remember that according to some beliefs, they believe that Santa Claus was extremely drunk. Santa Claus used to remain drunk. And if you look at the American society and American culture, especially on Christmas Eve, the bars are filled. The bars are filled, and the people are getting drunk. So what generally happens within a lot of these people is that because they like to associate wine with Christmas, a lot of the food that they bring in has wine or rum in it. And that's something you have to be very careful about. On the other hand, if you just bring like sodas or things like that type, I personally don't believe that there's any problem with just drinking a soda or anything like that. Not in my, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Gelatin.
once
Cookies.
again,
Cookies.
huh?
Cookies and gelatin.
No, once
cookies.
again, if there is a cookie that, if it has like haram ingredients such as gelatin or pork or anything of that type, I mean, there's no question whether it's Christmas or not Christmas season. I mean, it's always haram. So, but these are a few things that you have to be very careful about. One thing that has become very challenging, which we take very light, is the food that we eat. There's, in a lot of restaurants also, I know this is sort of tangent, but even a lot of restaurants are using wine more and more in order to cook our food. We have to be very careful about this. Even like fish, I found out that even fish, when they fry fish, a lot of restaurants, they fry their fish in beer batter. You have to be very careful about that. What a question? Oh yes, go.
What if in school you're getting forced to eat that type of stuff? Like, if there's like cookies with gelatin in it, I sometimes get forced to eat stuff.
So, I heard him what he said. The young brother has a very good question. He said that what if you're being forced into eating these kind of cookies that have gelatin and so forth? What I would say is that you have a religious right. You can tell them that I'm allergic and I've been prohibited from eating any of these kind of ingredients. Since these cookies include these kind of ingredients, I cannot eat it. No one's going to stuff it down your throat. I heard him what he said. He said just go to the bathroom. So I mean, but there's freedom of speech. He clearly mentioned that I don't want the cookie and no one's going to force it upon me. Any other questions? Yes, whatever.
Why did you choose today to speak about Christmas or yesterday?
Rather than yesterday?
I mean, this is about Christmas, right?
Yes.
So what did you pick a day before Christmas?
Why do we not? Because we thought Friday, many people come to the Masjid on Friday. And Ustadh Baajour also was very busy. He's in the whole moving process right now too. So, and inshallah next year, we'll see.
Yes. Yesterday we had a program. Beautiful program with the kids.
We had a youth program here. Yeah, we had a youth program here. And so, alhamdulillah, during this time, last week we had a very good, successful youth program where we had a bonfire. There was these kids had, s'mores and things of that type. And yesterday, alhamdulillah, we had an event. Next week, we have another event, right? On the 1st of January, which is Thursday. Today we had these events. So alhamdulillah, the masjid is alive. Alhamdulillah, these days, and we will continue to